The radical, fundamental principles of freedom, rational self-interest, and individual rights. This is the Yaron Brook Show.
All right, everybody, welcome to Yaron Brook Show on this Saturday, June 14th. I think it's, day 3 of the war between Israel and Iran, and it is an all-out war. All right, I am not sure how many people we'll have today. Everybody's probably watching the parade. The parade? You're not watching the parade? You don't want to see tanks and American soldiers marching up and down Washington, D.C.? You should be at the parade. Anyway, we are not going to talk about the parade. We are going to talk about what is going on in the Middle East and in this war. I'll give you a quick update as I see it, and then I'll take any questions you might have. Remember, this is a show funded through contributions that you provide from listeners like you. So please consider doing a sticker or a super chat. Ask a question. Yeah, I mean, we could go backwards in time, or we could go a variety of different ways. But Z-Racer says he thinks they got the Ayatollah. Maybe they got the Ayatollah. That would be Khamenei. That would be pretty amazing. The most I've seen is that they probably got Iran's defense minister. They also, this is anyway. This is how we're going to start, right? I mean, what we're seeing is just a masterclass by the Israeli military in precision warfare. You could argue they could just drop a couple of nukes and get this over with and finished. Indeed, one way they could destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities is put a nuke in Fordow in that bunker that's 100 meters deep. I think the nuke will take care of that. Israel has that capacity, but assuming Israel's not going to use nukes and assuming Israel does not want to carpet bomb Iranian population, what we're seeing here is a masterclass in precision warfare. It really is a stunning exhibit of military power. And really what it illustrates more than anything else is the role of the mind, right? Everything Israel is doing is a consequence of superior thinking, superior strategy. Yes, it has better weapon systems, American weapon systems, again, products of a free mind, of the human mind under freedom. But most of those weapon systems have been improved by Israel. The F-35s that and F-16s, F-15s are all being, customized for Israeli needs and some of them with Israeli technology. But how do you change the credit card number in Super Chat? I have no idea. I mean, you might have to kind of delete your accounts in Super Chat and redo it or something like that. Not sure. Anyway, the entire missile defense system, or most of the missile defense system, that is shooting down an overwhelming majority of the rockets being fired by Iran into Israel is Israeli produced. The Arrow system and several others, truly stunning technology. But beyond that, there's just a strategy. They're just systematic. There's a strategy. It's based on immense intelligence. They know where everybody is. They have the capacity to fly vast distances. Capacity to take out air defense systems that every other air force in the world would struggle with. And, it truly is a beautiful thing to behold. And I think to the extent that you value freedom, and you value the human mind, and you value the good guys fighting for their freedom and for their lives, What Israel is doing again is spectacular. It's sad because it's a war and people are dying, and Israelis are dying. But it is truly amazing. That today Israel was flying all over Iran, pretty much free of much air defense systems. It was bombing natural gas facilities in the south. It actually bombed a facility right at the Straits of Hormuz. We'll talk about the Straits of Hormuz in a minute. To kind of basically as a warning shot to the Iranians who are threatening to close the Straits of Hormuz. 24. So we might as well talk about it now. 24% of the oil, the global oil supply. 24% of the global oil supply goes through the Straits of Hormuz. It is a very, very narrow segment in the Persian Gulf. That on one side is Iran. As we saw with the Houthis, it's not that hard to kind of block a naval, passageway. Now, I really do think that if they block the Straits of Hormuz, the United States will enter this and will flatten everything in that area, or hopefully we'll take those bunker busters and destroy their nuclear facilities. But it will be unbelievably disruptive. You can block the straits with little boats. You can block the straits with simple missiles. You can, the variety of different, pretty simple, easy ways to block the straits. And as we've seen with the Houthis, very difficult to reopen them once they're blocked. Very difficult to destroy the enemy's capabilities of harassing shipping along that lane. Again, 24% of all the oil going in the world goes through the Straits of Hormuz. No wonder oil prices are spiking. They're already high. Earlier today, they were up 9%. Another 9%. They're heading over 80. Wouldn't be surprised if they get to 100 by the time this is over. Certainly, if the Iranians actually do block the Straits of Hormuz, you could see oil over 100. I don't know how long it'll stay closed, because I think Israel will do everything in its power to punish the Iranians for closing those straits and making it very, very, very expensive for them. Israel's gone after strategic assets. I mean, even tonight, they're taking out apartments and homes of senior Iranian officials. Now, if you're a senior Iranian official, after that first night, do you go home to sleep? Do you actually stick to your regular routine? Do you not find the deepest bunker under Tehran or wherever and go hide there? It seems some of them are still going home. And maybe Israel is taking out the Minister of Defense. I don't know. That might be, again, fog of war. But they're taking out a bunch of people in Tehran, in their homes. And that's kind of nuts. They are bombing everywhere they want to bomb, basically, and it's systematic. They spent, I think, the morning taking out all the ballistic missile facilities that they could find, ballistic missile depots, launchers. They're very difficult to find because these are mobile launchers. They can move around. They're relatively small. Israel has to constantly be looking for them and blowing them up. But the reality is that the Iranians claimed that they could send at one time, 2,000 ballistic missiles into Israel. 2,000, which would completely overwhelm Israel's air defense systems. At their peak so far, they've managed to send 100. And earlier tonight, when they sent the ballistic missiles, there were 40. So, and there might be another round later tonight. But 40 is all they can do. With 40, the air defense systems are not overwhelmed. You still get some strikes, but you get a lot fewer strikes than you would if there were 2,000. The reason they can't do 2,000 is not because they didn't think they could. The reason they can't do 2,000 is because Israel is basically taking out their capacity. They've taken out their launches. They've taken out their missiles. They just can't do it. They just don't have the capacity to do it. So Israel's putting on a masterclass in aerial warfare in the Israeli Air Force, without question, the best in the world. They are, they are basically the skies in Iran or Israel's. They do whatever they want, and they have been doing whatever they want in the skies of Iran right now. Earlier today, Israel's defense secretary said that if Iran continues to target civilians in Israel, Israel would make Tehran burn. Would make Tehran burn. And everybody looked at that and said, what are they going to do? How are they going to, how are they going to flatten Tehran? What are they going to do? How are they going to make Tehran burn? Well, we saw it tonight. So as the ballistic missiles were heading towards Haifa today, this evening, Israeli planes bombed the fuel depots in Tehran, massive fuel depots in the west of Tehran, 11 big silos of fuel. They are now on fire. You can see that fire from many, many, many miles away. They are, the fire is spreading. You don't have to put 11 missiles into 11 different containers. It goes from one to the other to the other. The whole facility is up in flames. Other, fuel depots around Tehran are also burning. And yes, Tehran is up in flames, not the city itself, but there are flames everywhere you look in Tehran. At the same time, they went after, as I said, senior people within the regime. Again, not clear who they got, not clear who they were after, not clear who they got. So Tehran indeed is on fire. The Iranian people are not going to have gasoline. I think they knew this because on the first day the war started, the first thing the Iranians did is they started standing in line and filling up their cars because they knew this would happen. At this point, there's no gasoline in Tehran, and gasoline prices are going to go up dramatically. It's going to be a mess tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and slowly Israel is going to diminish the economic capabilities of Iran and the Iranian government. They're slowly going to take out the primary, primarily energy, the energy that provides the cash that allows the Iranian economy to keep going. We'll see what they take out beyond that, but I can imagine, the next step being if the Iranians don't step down, the next step would be to take out the electricity in Tehran. It wouldn't be that difficult right now for the Israelis. Again, the Israelis control the sky above Tehran. They're flying above Tehran, which is, just imagine how humiliating that is for the regime. The Iranian people just look up and there are F-16s, F-35s flying in their skies unharassed. So you can expect, it's quite possible, and I hope they do this tomorrow night, is they put the whole city in darkness. They take out the power supply in Tehran. They put it in darkness. It's going to be incredibly hot during the day. It'll be dark during the night. And I think this is what Israel needs to do and what Israel looks like it's going to do. The bottom line is that Israel cannot take out the Iranian nuclear facility. I think that's true. We'll see. They might have some surprises up their sleeves. They have in the past. It might very well be that they cannot take out the Iranian nuclear facility. So what is the only other way to stop the Iranians from getting a bomb? The only other way is regime change. And, I think this must be what Israel has to target at this point. It has to go for regime change. It has to go for an internal revolution in Iran, taking out the current mullahs, whether with more moderates who are committed to doing away with the nuclear program, or whether it's all-out, liberal democracy type revolution, or whether it's the Shah coming back, right, the son of the Shah. But it has to be regime change. Nothing else should satisfy the Israelis. And again, you don't have to put boots on the ground for regime change. You don't have to actually be in the streets. Now, maybe you do. We will see. But if you make the Iranian people suffer enough, and I think the Iranian people know who's to blame here, or at least a significant portion of the Iranian people. And I don't know the answer to this, I have no special information about this, if there are people in Tehran, in Iran, willing to take on the responsibility of governing, then, and taking out the Ayatollah Khamenei as part of that, taking out the council of scholars that runs the country, the various mullahs. I think tonight, if they took out the defense secretary, that's an important step. Taking out the key pieces, the key players in the regime. I mean, at some point, the regime will just collapse. At some point, they'll basically surrender. And you're seeing the beginnings of this. One of the most encouraging signs out of Tehran today, one of the most encouraging signs out of Tehran today, is the number of airplanes leaving the Tehran airport, including most of them small private planes, but one 747, Boeing 747. Now, the airspace above Iran is closed. The airport is closed. There are no flights in and out of Tehran airport. So who is flying out? Well, I mean, obviously the people flying out are the families of the regime leadership, maybe some of the regime leadership that have had enough. Most planes are assumed to be flying to Moscow. They can meet up with Bashar al-Assad and hang out there in Moscow with him. But many of them have dual citizenship and could be in Europe or, as I said, in Canada. I don't think the Ayatollah is gone yet, although who knows? He gave an address earlier this evening. But I'm sure families, I'm sure senior people within the Iranian administration are sending their families out because they know that this is the beginning. There's a very high probability that this is the beginning of the end. There are no flights going into Tehran. No flights going into Tehran. Now, there's a lot of fake news. There's another thing I wanted to warn you of. A lot of fake stuff online. Oh my God, I saw pictures of the refinery in Haifa burning. It ain't burning. You saw massive damage to central Tel Aviv and the Kiryat, the military headquarters of Israel. Never happened. All kinds of weird and strange claims and videos and photographs that have nothing to do with reality are being posted, all over Twitter. So beware of fake news. There is a lot of fake news. There are right now 0 flights going into Tehran. By the way, 0 flights going in and out of Tel Aviv. And here's what's interesting is, Israel basically managed to make sure that when the war began, there were no airplanes at the airports, at the international airport in Tel Aviv. All the airport, El Al, the Israeli national airline, has all its airplanes outside of Israel, mostly in Athens and in Larnaca in Cyprus. And indeed, thousands of Israelis have now converged on Larnaca and Athens and are waiting for the first sign that they can get on a plane and fly to Tel Aviv, right? And of course, Tel Aviv is closed. But they would love to fly home. Now, think about that. They want to fly home into this, jumping into air raid shelters every 5 minutes in the evening. Well, it's not that bad, actually, but still, it's bad, right? Says something about the spirit of these Israelis. But anyway, so regime change. Make the regime suffer so much that they start running away. By the way, this is what happened with the Shah. His people started running away. They started getting on planes and getting out of there. And he, of course, left under this idea that he was sick, which he was. He left. And then once enough of the regime was out of there, the whole thing just collapsed. People went out to the streets, and it was over, right? Not sure what the dynamic will be this time, but it could be very similar. You could see regime leaders escaping, getting out of there. You could see the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps slowly kind of collapsing, people walking away from it. The generals leaving, the soldiers just walking away. And then people started going into the streets. Once the Revolutionary Guard is out, then people will feel a lot more safe to go into the street and demand a regime change. So I think there's real chance that we will see the collapse of the Iranian regime. As I said yesterday, as I said the night before, major historical shift, a global geopolitical shift in the world. It changes so much. Certainly in the Middle East, if that happens, if regime change happens, oil prices will come down dramatically. The oil spigot from Iran opens up. Sanctions go away. So much changes in the Middle East, so much changes in the world, so much changes, globally. Russia suffers. China loses an ally. It is a big, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Short of, I don't know, Russia getting rid of Putin and replacing him and becoming a freer place. I can't think of any other place. I can't think of any other geopolitical change that would have as many ramifications as Iran. And in some ways, Iran might be even bigger. This is funny. I mean, these videos are funny. So we are seeing right now. Hypersonic ballistic missile appears to have just been used by Iran on Haifa, Israel. The speed of this missile is insane. I mean, again, this is a big assumption. Is there any other verifiable source for that information that a hypersonic missile has been sent and hit Haifa? Yep. We will see. I doubt it. I think it's just, I doubt it. Whoa. Indian government has just withheld this guy's account. And all his tweets are gone, even here. My major source for info on what's going on has just been blocked by X somehow. Wait, maybe I'm looking at the wrong place. Okay, that's better. Okay, no. My mistake. I clicked on the wrong button. That was scary. Yeah, it looks like there'll be another wave of ballistic missiles is going to be launched soon. So by the time they launch, it's about 10 minutes until impact. So we will see what happens. But right now there is a warning for Israelis to stay close to the air raid shelter. This usually precedes telling them to go into the air raid shelter, which precedes, the actual ballistic missiles arriving. So we will see. That photo of a hypersonic missile. I mean, it's really, really, really amazing to see the extent to which people can manipulate video and put up fake stuff constantly. Yeah. It's, yep. People are taking this very seriously and commenting on the video of the hypersonic missile striking Haifa. By the way, the strike earlier today with 40 missiles, a number of them made it to the ground. 2 of them in open space, and with no casualties. But tragically, one of those bombs hit a home. 14 people were hit by it, were injured by it. 4 of them died. I know it's fake. 4 of them died. 10 of them are still in the hospital. Whole family. And the home that was hit was a home of an Arab-Israeli family. Sadly, their homes do not build when they build their homes, which is, they should know better, but they do not build safe rooms. They do not build bunkers, in a sense. So this just devastated the entire house. It just collapsed the house, and they were all injured by it. The man was an Israeli Arab lawyer, and his wife. Both of them were killed, and I guess much of their family is in hospital right now. So this is unbelievably tragic. One of the other tragic parts of this is, let me just see if I can find, is that, where is it? I saw this. As these missiles were flying to Haifa, people in the West Bank is very close, and they could see the missiles flying towards Haifa. You can see video of them. They're cheering. They're celebrating. Right, they're celebrating this barrage of missiles towards Haifa. You remember, this is in the West Bank. So this is not in Gaza. These are the moderates, right? These are the Palestinian Authority moderates. These are what everybody would like Israel to be Israel's peace partners, right? They want these people to run Gaza instead of Hamas, and yet there they are cheering. The missiles, and of course the irony of that, the sad, disgusting, irony of that is that the missiles land up killing an Arab family who they would consider, Palestinians who live in Israel. This is in a Arab village called Arab town called Tamra, not far from Haifa. For me, just personally, every time these missiles go in the direction of Haifa, it's a little eerie and scary. My parents live there. My sister lives. My parents, my brother, his kids, his grandkids, my sister, her kids. They all live in Haifa, in various parts of Haifa. So I am watching carefully to see where these missiles are going and where they're hitting. I managed to get a hold of my mom just at the end of the barrage. I think just as she was leaving she was still in, I think, the safe room, and in this rehabilitation facility, which she's at after she left the hospital. And and she was saying you could hear you can hear the booms, you could hear. I mean, it's just horrific, right? I have a 90-year-old dad and 85-year-old mom, and they're separate because my dad's, she's in this rehabilitation place. My dad's in the apartment, and it's rough. It's rough every time you see these missiles heading there. Anyway, it seems like Israel right now is it seems like while this is going, that Israel is just pounding Iran right now. They're pounding Tehran. Okay, missiles have just launched from Iran towards Israel. That was 52 seconds ago. So within about 8 minutes, we will see. I mean, before that, we'll know where they're heading. We should know where they're heading in just the next few minutes, and then we'll see the consequence of that in about 10 minutes. Let me just pull up Telegram just to keep an eye on where this is heading. They usually give nice maps and let you know. This looks like, it's probably heading towards Tel Aviv. There's a bunch of drones that are coming in. Those are pretty, Israel's having an easy time knocking those down out of the air. But these look like ballistic missiles heading towards Tel Aviv. So we'll see in a minute. We'll see in a few minutes how bad it is. How bad it is. All right. As I said, in the meantime, Tehran is being pounded. It looks like a residential structure in a neighborhood in eastern Tehran collapsed after one of the apartments there was targeted for an assassination strike by the Israeli Air Force. Yeah, if you live in an apartment building with a senior official in the Iranian government, you should probably get out. Probably not stay there. There's a lot of whatever air defense systems they have. They have guns. They have like World War II air defense systems. Just going off all over Iran, Tehran, Isfahan, several other cities in northwestern Iran. That's where the focus is right now. Earlier today, I think I mentioned this, Israel did hit some of the natural gas producing and refining infrastructure of the Iranians. I think it was still just symbolic. It was like, we can do what we want. We can take out your entire oil industry. We can burn all your fields. We can basically shut down all oil and natural gas production. So they haven't yet they haven't taken out the island where the entire oil industry depends on. And they haven't taken out all the refining capacity. But Israel could very, very easily do this. So I think today was more of a warning shot. They continue to take out the leadership. I think the Israeli military right now and the Israeli political leadership is really hoping. Look, they have a lot of intelligence and they've got people on the ground. They've got Mossad agents on the ground there. But I think they are really hoping that this regime is just going to collapse. It's just going to implode on itself. And, it hasn't happened yet. It might never happen. But it's getting close. It's getting close, and they're giving them every excuse possible to get out of there and for the Iranian people to rise up against them. So, again, I think that is the goal, and I think that they're seeing first signs of that. Just to give you a sense of just the competence of the Israeli Air Force and Israeli intelligence, according to Saudi Arabia today, while Israel is bombing Tehran and while Haifa is being bombed by the Iranians, Israel launched an attack in Yemen. It had received intelligence that the Houthi military command was meeting. There was a big meeting of the entire leadership of the Houthi terrorist military, whatever you want to call them, group. And Israel, identified that and bombed the bejesus out of it. Now, we have not gotten confirmation that that people were killed, but it does seem like the head of the Houthi military, the commander-in-chief, if you will, of the Houthi military, was killed in the attack. If the Saudis are right that it wasn't just an attack on one person, it is quite possible that the entire military leadership of the Houthi was taken out tonight. So while Israel's, busy identifying targets, taking out leaders in Tehran, taking out different people all over, bombing different sites in Iran, taking out refineries, taking out fuel depots and all this, they still had the audacity, the courage, and the technical means to fly a F-35 and F-16 to the south, to Yemen, further away or as far, depending where in Iran, but as far as Iran, as far as distant portions of Iran, and take out the entire command and control of the Houthis. Note that America supposedly fought a war with the Houthis and then, I guess, surrendered and never did anything like that. U.S. military did nothing like that. Something like that would have required Israel to have to have a refueling airplane go with whatever airplane was going down to Yemen, so it could get back home. But it's just, again, it's stunning performance. Stunning performance. All right, there seems to be confirmation now that Aziz Nassizadeh, whatever, Iran's defense minister, has been killed. Why did he go home, if that's where he was killed? And that could be Israel did attack today the bunker of the defense ministry in Tehran. He could have been there. He could have been killed there. But among several people yesterday, among several people tonight that have been taken out by the Israelis, the defense minister is one of them. So this is good. Let's see. So as I said, basically air raid sirens all over Tel Aviv. This is where my wife's family is, and my sister is there, and the entire center of the country is being called to be in air raid shelters. I assume the ballistic missiles will be arriving any minute now. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right, so I said he was eliminated. Let me just see what else is. Yep. So, Saudi Arabia, as I said before, Saudi media reports that IDF struck the entire Houthi leadership during a meeting they were holding in a bunker. The Houthis love to dance on American Israeli flags. Now they cannot dance anymore. That is a tweet by somebody affirming what I said earlier in terms of anti-aircraft system at the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv has been, I guess in Jerusalem, the embassies in Jerusalem has been activated. So maybe there were also air raid sirens in Jerusalem. Let's see. All right. Let me just check up on what's going on with those missiles. Nothing new. I think it'll be a while before we see anything. There's definitely more fires in Tehran. I mean, you see picture after picture after picture, and these are being shot by Iranians. You can see them speaking in the background. Yeah, so IDF interceptors active over Tel Aviv. We've got people here live giving us reports as they happen in Tel Aviv. And let me just text my sister. All right. All right. Whoops. It is interesting who is doing all these deep fakes for this, and who is posting them, and why are they posting them, and whose accounts they are, and what that means. I guess interceptors also going up in Jerusalem. So yes, Jerusalem is also being attacked. That's why the U.S. Embassy had triggered its air defense system. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that the Israeli military keeps telling Israelis: don't film, don't post the ballistic missiles coming in. Don't post them. The Iranians use this to recalibrate. Since they're pretty crude, these are not precision weapons. They see where it hits, and then they calibrate. So don't show where the hits are happening. Now, a lot of people are doing it in spite of that. Yeah. In the meantime, we've got the parade. It looks like Trump is saluting American servicemen. How many times did he escape the draft? I don't know. Which he should have. I mean, I'm all for avoiding the draft. The draft was wrong. But it's still kind of ironic. Yeah, I mean, you never know. Somebody's saying, that a missile was launched from a house in Tehran and hit a nearby building. And they're saying, well, maybe that's the Mossad. But who knows if that's even true. All right, so the interceptors throughout the fifth Iranian ballistic missile wave targeting Haifa. That was earlier today, so that's on now. Somebody's posting it now. That's not Haifa. God, I mean, this is the kind of stuff. You look at the picture and, no, Haifa doesn't have buildings that tall. That's not Haifa. That's Tel Aviv. What are you talking about? So, yeah, I mean, this is the challenge that you have. All right. Let's see. Anybody from Israel letting us know what's happening here? I mean, the thing about the assassination of the Iranians, Iranians confirm it. It's all being confirmed. So I should share my screen to show you. Let's share my screen. Let's do this. I mean, I can share my screen on my computer and on my phone. So my computer, I'm just going to show you X. Let's see. We're going to do this. We're going to go there. I think that would be it. Yeah, okay. I'm going to put that up there. See, that is a map. The red dots are where air raid sirens have gone off. Where air raid sirens have gone off. You'll see the red dots. And you can see Tel Aviv, the southern part of Tel Aviv, some northern parts, Herzliya, all of Herzliya, and then all the way up through the central corridor, all the way up to Jerusalem, is all in red dots. So that's where the air raid sirens have gone off. I'm just going to refresh the page. So this is OSINT Defender, who has proven over the who has proven over the 2 years of the war in Israel, and that to be an incredibly reliable source. Let me just do this. Proven to be an incredibly reliable source. So this is the guy or one of the guys I follow. It's not the only source. I look for other sources as well. That's about you. Oh, this is, again, I'm putting highlights instead of posts. There we go. This is what I want. Explosions heard in Tel Aviv. amidst the interception of ballistic missiles launched by Iran. Sirens stopped in Tel Aviv and now sounding all around it in central Israel. So you're seeing the very center of Tel Aviv is not being affected, and actually Herzliya is not being affected. It's actually the red dots there is Netanya. Netanya is further north, so they're actually not going after the very center of Tel Aviv. They're going south of Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, West Bank. A lot of those red dots are in the West Bank. Maybe they're going after those cheering Palestinians who cheered the attack on Haifa. And then up there in Netanya, all of this area has had air raid sirens. Let's see what else. This is just. Yeah, that I don't think is Haifa. Let me just refresh this. Okay, that's the parade. That's who knows what that is. That's Thomas Massey, who is against anti-Israel. This is not our war. We should not engage our military here. Furthermore, doing so would require a vote of Congress. That's true. It should require a vote of Congress. I'm all for Congress voting on this stuff. Of course, I think if you actually had Congress vote on it, you'd actually approve the mission. But here's this radius of, this is the range of Iran's missiles. They can't reach America, so it's not our war. They're developing ICBMs, but it's not our war. So that's that. This is Arsenate aggregator and unreliable, completely unreliable. Tehran air defenses are now engaged in repelling a massive Israeli drone strike over Iranian capital. BS. I call BS on that, and I've seen a bunch of his stuff, unreliable, and a lot of these Ascent unreliable. This one I don't know. Another footage shows the impact of Iranian ballistic missiles in Haifa. Apparently, one of them was equipped with an anti-burst warhead, which detonated at 15. So, yeah, I mean, no, that is probably Haifa, but yeah, a lot of unreliable people, a lot of unreliable stuff. I get all of it. That is, may your village burn, shot an Israeli. No, that again, not right. I don't believe it. These are sadly. Here's a picture, sadly, of the Arab family who were killed today. It says here they're Christian Arabs. According to this, they're Christian Arabs. Raja Khatib and his wife. Yep. I mean, sad. Really sad. Here's Mario Nafaz, who loves clickbait. Breaking Iran launches True Promise 3, a new missile and drone offensive. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps says it's not done yet. In response, an Israeli airstrike on Iranian oil. Iran's Revolutionary Guard just announced a fresh wave of missile, whatever. There's Margaret Thatcher. Yeah, this is the hypersonic. How about that? Look at this. Look at this hypersonic. They claim that's hypersonic. Many hits. A small cut of tonight's video. They've got tons of these. So yes, you have to be careful. Jerusalem a few minutes ago. This looks real. Yeah, let me say again. So this is real. This is over Jerusalem. You can see, whoops, I guess you can't really see that. Let me just move this. Oh. Let me move that. There you go. That is above Jerusalem. So you can see the lights. It's a combination. The lights are combinations of the ballistic missiles as they enter the atmosphere, and the interceptors. Again, Israel's intercepting. I don't know, 90+% of everything that's being thrown at it. So 40 in Haifa, 3 made it to the ground. So that's over 90%. Andrew says all ballistic missiles are hypersonic at their entry phase. True. I guess they are ones that are faster, right? They're ones that are juiced up, even at the entry phase. None of those look like they're hitting anything. They all look like they were intercepted in the air. That is from Jerusalem. And by the way, a lot of what falls and hits the ground are the fragments, because these things are exploding way up in the atmosphere, way up above. And then the interceptor itself is blowing up, and there are fragments there. Sometimes the fragments are small and they're insignificant. Sometimes the fragments can be bigger, but that is a lot of what falls. A lot of what you see as falling is that Amit Segal is a good. He's a commentator on Israeli television, a regular commentator on Israeli television. He is reliable. Again, long history, and he gives you a lot of also the politics, Israeli politics. This is fascinating, and I've seen this. This is a cut from the New York Times today. New York Times had a big story about Iran today, and they got a bunch of text messages that the Iranian leaders were sending one another. And so I'll just read you from the New York Times article. In private text messages shared with the New York Times, some officials were angrily asking one another, "Where's our air defense? And how can Israel come and attack anything it wants, kill our top commanders, and we're incapable of stopping it?" I mean, where have they been living? I mean, this is so predictable. So predictable. I mean, didn't they see what happened earlier? No. My sister's saying the whole building is shaking from the bangs. Shaking from the bangs. Ugh. Can you imagine they're in a safe room in an apartment. I can't remember what floor they're on. And the apartment building is shaking because there are booms going on around. Not good. Anyway, where were they? Where were all these Israelis? They also question where were all these Iranians? They also question the major intelligence and defense failures that had led to Iran's inability to see the attacks coming and the resulting damage. So yeah, the Iranians are panicking. This is the article in the New York Times. A miscalculation by Iran led to Israeli strikes, extensive toll. Miscalculation or just incompetence? I think the New York Times is being generous. Unsurprisingly, okay, let's see if there's anything else, if Amit Segal is saying anything else. There's an interesting story here about yesterday. 2 Israeli citizens were arrested on suspicion of committing security offenses under Iranian direction. So hard to tell what that story is about because there's a gag order on further information on it for obvious national security reasons. Let's see what Ascent Defender. Smoke scenes rising from the site of an impact near Tel Aviv in central Israel. Yeah, so that looks like it's east of Tel Aviv. Several ballistic missile impacts near Tel Aviv. Coming down over central Israel. Those are more, you can see sky shots of that. And explosions heard in Tel Aviv amidst the interceptions of ballistic missiles launched by Iran. So we will have to see. It takes a while until we find out what damage has been caused and whether there are casualties and what is actually going on. But you get a little bit of sense of, you can get a sense of and see that. Somebody is saying, yeah, we were on the Carmel, which is the hill in Haifa, and the student dorms were also shaking. Yeah, most of that is from the interceptors, and the interceptors hitting the ballistic missiles and exploding up in the air. You get these massive booms, and the buildings shake. It's unbelievably scary. All right. Let's see. What else did I want to tell you? It really is going to be now a question of the amount of pressure that Israel is willing to put on the Iranian regime to try to see it fold. And, they're taking out senior leaders. They'll keep doing that to the extent that senior leaders continue to expose themselves or to be in places where Israel can take them out. They are, they will, I think now systematically, particularly given this latest barrage. Again, 9 seconds ago, I guess a ballistic missile from Yemen. So the Houthis decided that they're part of this, and maybe in memory of their commander-in-chief, who hopefully died tonight, they sent a ballistic missile. Hopefully that one will be easy to knock down, given that it's just one missile and not one out of 50 or whatever. So hopefully they'll knock that out of the sky pretty quickly here. But I think tomorrow is going to be a lot of taking out the Iranian infrastructure, Iranian economic assets, and things like that. Oh, I guess if you're up to it, I wanted to share with you the latest on Darryl Cooper, Nazi, the Tucker-friendly, Joe Rogan-friendly Nazi. Unlike Iran, Israel's primary strategic goals involve getting American servicemen killed. What do you do about stupidity at that level and just evil? It's not stupidity; it's just evil at that level. The unwillingness to even see what is going on in the world. But he is motivated by his Nazi ideology. Yeah, we'll talk about these demonstrations and all of that another time. Yeah, there's somebody claiming that Iran closed down its nuclear weapons program in 2003. Not according to the International Atomic Commission and pretty much everybody else, and who's admitted that they had refined uranium to 60%. So, yeah, I mean, again, you're going to see more and more of this kind of misinformation from MAGA, from crazy libertarians, and just from general anti-Semites out there. People, saying America's about to join the war any minute now. Supposedly Israel is being actively calling for that. Here's another angle of all the missiles hitting Haifa. You see that? Hey, you guys in Haifa, did that actually happen? Unbelievable, the stuff that people are making up, creating and making up. Yeah, I mean, panic on live broadcast in Iran. This is kind of interesting. Where is our army? Iranian television channels are struggling to digest the scale of the Israeli attack. Commentators and citizens can be heard wondering on the broadcast, how is it possible that Israel attacked in the heart of the country and no one prevented it? Where is our army? The studios are broadcasting in tense atmosphere with confusion and uncertainty about the extent of the damage. Yeah, you don't see that on Israeli TV because there's no confusion. Everybody knows exactly what's going on. I think Nikki Haley's right. Good for Nikki Haley. She writes, finish them. Amit Segal, children of the light and children of darkness. So we're talking about a number of, we've got, gas stations being blown up. We've got storage facilities. This is in Hebrew. We've got a number of storage facilities in various places around Iran are being blown up. All right, we've got we had a political assassination this morning in the United States. So that was pretty amazing news. That two state congressmen from in Minnesota were basically executed, killed tonight, assassinated tonight, earlier today or last night by a gunman. And what was really fascinating was to watch the accusations go on. Oh, here's really. Anyway, trying to see this video if this is worth showing you guys. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's happening is the Jordanians The Jordanians are shooting down drones that are flying over Jordan. So Jordanians are definitely in on this, and they're not allowing, if they can, they're shooting down whatever's traveling across Jordan on the way to Israel. Yep. Here's some images of more images of these things just flying down on you in the Tel Aviv area. Imagine any one of those is a nuke. The whole of Israel is gone. There's another. Yeah. All right. Since it's hard to tell what's real and what's not here, we'll just skip it for now. Okay. What else do we want to? What else do I want to say? Russia Today is putting up all the videos of the so-called hypersonic missiles, the really fast ones. All right. So there was this, and what was fascinating after the assassination, these were two Democrats. Supposedly one of them last week voted with the Republicans in the Minnesota House. And I think the congresswoman who was killed was the House Majority Leader, the Democrat, who was the leader of the House Majority. And the immediate response from MAGA was, this is some leftist killing her because she voted with Republicans last week. There was some pamphlets in his car, or supposedly, with the No Kings on it. So it was assumed that he was a lefty, and everybody online, everybody online who was from MAGA, who was from the right, assumed it was a lefty, and just that was the assumption. And then, of course, it's clear that the guy is a hater of an anti-abortion, right-wing nutcase, and he is a right-winger, he's a registered Republican, and he had a list of all the people he was going to kill, and we will, it was right-wing political violence. Something that the right keeps saying doesn't exist, but there it was. All right. All right. What else? Why don't we go to some questions? We just got another refresh here. Danny's saying, what is the purpose? This is just a question online, but I'm sure it's a question that a lot of people have. What is the purpose of firing missiles in waves like this? If the point is to overwhelm Israel air defenses, why would they not just shoot as many as possible over 1 and 2 hour period? Because they can't. They don't have enough launches. Every time Israel goes and destroys a bunch of them, they have fewer launches to use. That's why they're launching only 40, 50 now per round instead of the 100 that was the original round. I mean, if they really want to do damage, they would launch 1,000, and Israel would have a really hard time intercepting that all at once. They are limited because Israel has limited their capabilities by taking their capabilities out over the last 3 days. What is going? Yep, ballistic missiles, interceptions over the center of Israel. Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see what, if any of these impacts, and what the consequence of that is. It's interesting. Isn't it interesting that the Iranians have not attacked any U.S. bases in the Middle East, even though they promised they would? They have not attacked British. They have not attacked anybody else. They're only attacking Israel because they are afraid. They are. I mean, this is what Israel is doing. Imagine if you brought in B-52s or B-2s. I mean, and bunker busting bombs and all the other stuff. Just imagine the extent of the damage that they will suffer, and they know that. So they're limiting this. They do not want the United States to be in this war. Just minutes ago, this is 2 hours ago, Israel Air Force struck the central bunker of Iran's Armed Forces General Staff in Tehran using, the Israeli bunker busting bombs. So that's probably where the defense minister was killed. Here's pictures of the oil refinery in Haifa in flames. Explosion reported in Karaj, Iran. Footage shows a large fireball lighting up the night. Sky falling. A reported explosion in Karaj. Cause of the blast remains unknown. Yeah, right. It's always unknown. All right. I'm looking just to see if there's anything. But okay, let's go to your questions. Thank you to all the super chatters. Really, really, really appreciate the support. Okay, so there is a significant damage in a high-rise in Bat Yam, which is to the south of Tel Aviv. It looks like a ballistic missile hit there. A side of a residential building seems to have been collapsed. Hopefully everybody was in their safe room and are safe, and there are no casualties, but it does look like a building in Bat Yam it took a really bad hit. There's another one that hit, and really you see a real fireball coming out of it. Another one that hit in Tel Aviv. I'm not sure what that one is, but it looks that looks really, really bad. So Israel did take some direct hits today. In Haifa, and a Christian Arab family was killed. In Tel Aviv, we are yet to find out what casualties they are, if they are casualties, and the extent of the damage. We know that in Bat Yam that building was hit, and that looks significant. All right, let me just check one other source, and then I'll take your questions. Let's see. 757. It looks like the Iranians also sent a bunch of drones in order to occupy the air defense systems, while at the same time you've got the ballistic missiles. So they're getting more sophisticated. They're getting more sophisticated. Israel's Air Force is in Iran. It have to fly back in order to shoot down all the drones. But yeah. I mean, I think they, somebody's saying that Iran did indeed try to hit the oil refinery in Haifa. Yeah, they did. They tried, but as far as I know, they did not hit it. Right? There is no hit. The British apparently have sent in fighter pilots. It could be that the Brits, the Americans, the Jordanians, are all flying over Jordan, knocking down drones. So that is Israel's kind of backup. This Earth's out. I'm not sure what to pronounce that, but anyway, he's saying he's in Haifa. He said, based on a video I recorded, it looked like they were deliberately burning fuel there. There were vertical fuel fires started near the 2/3 inflamed regions. Yeah, they often do that. You often see fire above the above the refinery. It may be a pipeline for the oil refinery, maybe in Haifa. Yeah, I don't think there was a direct hit. There was a hit on the refinery, but there is a direct hit in Tel Aviv, and there's a direct hit in Bat Yam. So we will wait and see what the outcome, what the consequence of all that is. Here's another significant hit in Rehovot, in the center of Israel. It looks like a home was hit there. Hard to tell if there'd be casualties. There's a bit of a fire on the roof of a building. All right, so we'll wait and see. But some of these missiles will get through. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Think about what it is to hit a ballistic missile traveling at these immense speeds as they enter as they re-enter. You know, and you know, you have to fire at them in a fraction of a second, and the projectile has to hit them perfectly. I mean, the science of this and the tech in this is stunning and amazing, and it's amazing. You know, when the first Gulf War was on in 1991, Israel had no air defense systems when the Iraqis fired missiles into Israel. Now, those missiles were a lot smaller than these, and they were a lot less damaging than these, but there was no defense. They would just rain in. They just came in, they rained in, and, you know, they hit where they hit. You know, that was what a real wake-up call for Israel. And it went immediately into developing probably the best aerial defense system in the world. You know, they've given away their Patriot missiles because what they have is better than the Patriots. They do have the THAAD, which is supposed to be particularly good for ballistic missiles. But the American THAAD and the rest are Israeli-built Arrow and other types of air defense systems. All right, I keep saying I'll go to your questions, but now let's go to your questions. Yeah, that is the one in Bat Yam. It looks pretty bad in Bat Yam. A lot of damage. All right, let's see. Matt, $100. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for the amazing commentary and being a voice of reason on this issue. I appreciate that, Matt. Thank you for the support. Really appreciate that. Michael says, yesterday, the criminals, terrorists, rapists, worst of the worst. Today, quote, there are friends and neighbors who tend our hotels and keep the agriculture and food processing sectors going. Regimes like this, that's the end quote, regimes like this change the party line overnight. Yeah, I mean, look, it's quite obvious what's going on. As we know, Trump, the only people Trump actually listens to are business people. And you know, when business people call him up and business people complain, he listens. They're probably the only people he listens to. I don't think he listens to anybody else. And business people cannot be happy with ICE going onto farms and taking their farm labor into hotels or into restaurants or into other facilities and taking their employees. Now, so Trump is listening to them because you know, he has, quote, respect. To the extent he has respect for anything, he has supposed respect for business people, and they're complaining. They also are the ones, remember, that probably paid $1 million to have lunch with him, or $5 million to have dinner with him, and probably gave a bunch of money for his, you know, for his campaign or inauguration or whatever. And now they're calling him up and they're complaining, and he's going. And I've told you from the beginning, Trump is not. I mean, it's not personal for Trump with regard to immigration. It's certainly personal for Miller for whatever reason, but it's not personal for Trump. And Trump is doing this because this is MAGA's thing, and this is what he got elected on. And you know, he every time he mentions it, he gets huge applause. So he keeps going after them. So the fact that he is now withdrawing ICE from certain industries, they're still going after some industries, is because those industries complained. So what was it? Agriculture, hotels, and restaurants, I think, right? Okay, for now, they're not going to go over there, right? But what I am seeing much more of, and what just the last couple of days, what I'm seeing much more now that they're not going there, ICE still has quotas to make. Now they're just stopping people in the street who have a skin color and they're demanding documents. Now think about that. We live in the United States of America. In the United States of America right now, armed government officials, armed to the teeth, can stop you in the middle of the street and demand you present a government ID. And not just any government ID. A driver's license will not do. Because a driver's license, some illegal immigrants have driver's licenses. So they want to see a passport, some document that's a federal document. I mean, I don't know how many of you ever imagined that would happen in the United States. And that most people just shrug, well, don't care. Most people, papers, please. That's what authoritarian regimes do. That's what totalitarian regimes do. Everybody walks around with papers. Everybody walks around with a government-issued ID. And that's what they're doing. So they're stopping people. If you happen to look Hispanic, beware. Here in Puerto Rico, they're rounding up. There's a lot of people from the Dominican Republic who are here illegally. It's very close. They can come by boats. And they've been rounding them up. And you know, and people are afraid. People are afraid. People from Dominican origin, some of them legal, are just not leaving their homes. They're petrified. The enhanced driver's licenses can be issued to illegal immigrants as well in certain states. So they're not good enough. Not good enough. Anyway, it is scary, scary times in the United States of America. And in ways that one could have never expected. Okay, so it looks like latest wave of attacks. So Michael, absolutely, and it truly is horrible. And this regime is Trump. It's whatever Trump says. And whoever gets to Trump and whoever speaks to Trump last. I'm a little worried that he spoke to Putin today. And you know, he said to Putin, yeah, the war between Israel and Iran should be over. I mean, he really is very influenced by the last person he speaks to. And the ICE, again, instructions of meeting the numbers have not changed. They just have to make up for the agricultural employees and the hotel employees with somebody else that they round up. Thank you, Michael. At $50, really appreciate it. So at least 6 impacts reported in the greater Tel Aviv area of central Israel with this last wave of ballistic missiles from Iran. So at least 6 impacts. That's a lot. I think that's the most we've had so far. I'm not sure why. You would think their defense systems would be getting better as they get more data, more experience and more data. They should be getting better. But for whatever reason, this one seemed to overwhelm the system. And early, of course, today we had 3 or 4 drops in the Haifa area. A family was killed. I'm not sure what the casualties are on this one, but I'll tell you this. I think what Iran just did is it guaranteed that the oil and natural gas facilities on the Persian Gulf that are basically the entirety of the Iranian economy might be history tomorrow. They might very well be history tomorrow. The only thing that could stop Israel from taking those out is Donald Trump saying, no, that'll spike oil prices too high. That's the only thing I can think of. Okay. Okay, so I'm just looking here. Rescue crews at the scene in Bat Yam. I mean, yeah, I'm seeing pictures of the rescue crews. Yeah, definitely major damage to the building. I'd be surprised if nobody got hurt. Unless all the safe rooms on the other side of the building, but this side of the building is really taken a hit. All right, keep going here. Let's see, Vikram, 2,000 Indian rupees. Thank you. We've seen barely 5 months, 10% of Trump's term. At the rate he is going, what mayhem awaits us in the 43 months ahead, or will he tamp down and turn turtle? What's your best guess? I mean, it's so hard to tell. It's so hard to tell. I do think it'll be tamped down. I mean, I don't know what other wars can break out. Remember, Trump said no wars ever break out when he's president? Well, so much for that. We're watching it live right now, a war that broke out while he was president. And the other wars that he said would go away, Ukraine, Russia, is still going strong. So not clear. Yeah, so he's been a failure when it comes to preventing wars. But I don't know. Who knows? I really don't know. He's so unpredictable. I don't think he can sustain this momentum, but he might because again, he's surrounded himself with people who are going to stick with him because they're loyal, who he's going to stick with because they're loyal, and who I think are ready and willing to do crazy stuff for another, 3.5 years. So yeah, I think it's going to be crazy. Now the courts might save us, but imagine if the Supreme Court rules that the tariffs are unconstitutional. All Trump will do is come up with a different law, impose the same tariffs under that different law, and force everybody to sue him again and take it against the Supreme Court. So I don't think anything is actually going to slow him down, other than a major U.S. recession or something like that, which will cause a major rethink and will again have those business people who he listens to going to visit him and arguing him off the next ledge he puts the United States on. But yeah, I don't know what else. I don't know what else would slow him down. Major economic crisis would do it. And I just don't see that necessarily happening. Right. All right. I'm just trying to stay up to date. Again, according to some reports, Iran has no more airplanes to fly. Israel's basically taking out all their military airplanes. Let's see. Da-da-da. Yeah, a lot of silliness. I see the marching. Yeah, they're not goose stepping, and the marching is in Washington. They're not even that straight a line. They're not even that. I mean, the Soviets march so much better. The authoritarians have marches that are so much more scary. People posting video from Amman where the missiles are flying over, the ballistic missiles. All right, let's see. I think we're good. So you've got what you have is Israel has a multi-layered defense system. So the first layer is Arrow, and the second layer is the Iron Dome. And Iron Dome was not built to intercept ballistic missiles, but it is intercepting quite a few of them. So anything that you can see that's intercepted really low to the ground, that is Iron Dome. It's pretty amazing that they've managed to get it to work on these ballistic missiles. It was designed for something completely different. Let's see. What is this? I don't know what that is. All right. Get that. All right. Rational IP. If government were fully voluntary funded, how can we ensure judges or government in general aren't more biased towards major contributors, especially since corruption already exists today and requires safeguards regardless? Well, I think the main way you do that is that everybody's, call it contributions to the government, are public information. They're all reported. They're all listed. So, you're not giving the money to a judge. You're giving it to the government. The government's spending it on the judges, maybe. But it's all listed. So, there are records, and you can go in and you can see who's paid and who hasn't, and who's paid a lot. And then this is why you need a free and a media that is actually monitoring government. This is, truth to power is really the role of the media. The role of the media is to hold the power to account and to track them and regulate them and let people know if there is apparent corruption. You can't create a system where there's no corruption. The other thing I'd say is judges should be paid really, really well. Government officials generally should be paid a lot of money. I mean, Singapore does this model where people who work for the government make a lot of money. So the temptation, they make more than they would make in the private sector. And the temptation, therefore, for corruption is a lot less, right? So, combination of things like that. But, corruption might be there, but, you shine a light on it. You make everything transparent. You see, one of the things I think that happens in a free society is almost nothing is illegal. Almost nothing is illegal. Sorry, almost nothing is illegal. I'm looking. Almost nothing is secret. God, where did I get illegal from? Almost nothing is secret. Everything the government does is transparent. The number of actually secret things would be like zero, almost zero. Like, why do we still not have all the files on JFK? Why don't we have all the files and stuff that happened 40 years ago? Why don't we have all the files on what happened 2 years ago? Other than putting agents' lives at risk, there should be no reason not to have full transparency with the government. So I think that's the way you protect for fraud, transparency. East out west. What is your opinion of the Crown Prince MBS in Saudi Arabia? I saw the political feint the royal family sent on X condemning the attack on Iran. He fixed oil prices with Russia for his country's family benefit, not USA. I mean, look, MBS is a thug, obviously, but he's a smart thug, not like some thugs we know, like Trump. He's a smart thug. He is the ruler of Saudi Arabia, and he is, it's his inheritance. He's unbelievably rich. It's not about more money for him, but he wants to be remembered as this, super successful monarch who built Saudi Arabia and created something out of Saudi Arabia. But he's a thug. What he did to that journalist in the Saudi embassy in Turkey. I mean, they basically cut him to pieces, murdered him and cut him to pieces. But he is also trying to, at least somewhat, to liberalize Saudi Arabia, to moderate it. Women can drive. Yippee! You still can't be an atheist in Saudi Arabia. You go to jail. But a lot of he's also put in jail a lot of the Wahhabis. He's trying to, in some sense, change the nature of Saudi Arabia and make it less of a theocracy. And he's also trying to establish an economy in Saudi Arabia that is not totally dependent on oil. So, and generally he hates Islamists because Islamists hate him because he's really secular. He's not really that interested in spreading in a caliphate and spreading the Muslim whatever. He just wants Saudi Arabia to be rich and big and successful and powerful. And Jamal Khashoggi is the guy, is the journalist they killed in Turkey. And so he's, I think he has some, he believes he wants progress, he wants the forward looking. He reminds me of a Deng in China, Deng Xiaoping, the guy who ordered the massacre in Tiananmen Square. On the one hand, he ordered the massacre in Tiananmen Square. On the other hand, he liberalized the Chinese economy. I mean, he's a monster, and yet he saved China. So, saved China economically, and set it on the path of authoritarianism forever, for a long, long time, politically. So I think MBS is that kind of person. He's a pragmatist, a real pragmatist, who's about power. About power. I don't trust him. If things shifted, he would turn against Israel, he would turn against America. He does, whatever he thinks will achieve him power and achieve his short-term aims. All right, seeing some photos from Bat Yam, which are really spooky, I have to say. There's like dust everywhere. You know how when in New York, when the Twin Towers came down, and there was like, the dust from the just evaporated, annihilated concrete, or whatever it was, from the buildings, and you're seeing the same thing here, covering cars, covering the road. Eerie, it looks like snow, almost snow, and that means the damage we're seeing is really, really, really extensive. So again, we will see what we can do. Super Chat broken. How come Super Chat is broken? That's not good. Anybody else have problems with Super Chat? Some people have obviously got through because we got quite a few questions. Another news item. 3 drones were shot down earlier today, approaching U.S. forces in Al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq, with the drones believed to have likely been launched by Iranian-backed paramilitary groups in Iraq in response to the United States supporting Israel. Lucinda got a sticker in, so I'm not sure why yours is broken. You'll have to check that out. So yeah, I mean, the Iranians need to be careful because there is a real, if they hit one of these bases, if there are American casualties in one of these bases, the United States could get involved, and that would definitely end the regime in Tehran. So I think they're being cautious. All right. Mr. Mystery 63 says, Yaron, please make a shout out to Freya and say it's time for her to make her husband some breakfast. He is hungry. Thank you for your great work, Yaron. Oh my God. I'm being used here by a, Freya, make him breakfast. He sounds grouchy. The way to a man's heart is to his stomach. Make him breakfast. Of course, Mr. Mystery 63, you could just get up and go make breakfast yourself if you're so hungry. It's probably what his wife is telling him right now. Being used like this by listeners. That is terrible. Andrew, is there a connection between the Israel haters' antagonism towards Israel and antagonism towards Ukraine? Yes, absolutely. It is basically antagonism towards the West, towards Western civilization, towards what they view as liberal democracy, towards liberalism in the classical liberal sense. Certainly, MAGA is not accidentally anti-Israel and anti-Ukraine. They like the thugs. They like the theocrats. They like the Putins of the world. All right. Yeah, the casualty numbers are going to be interesting. I'm seeing more and more photos of some real damage done in Tel Aviv. Yeah, I mean, it's hatred of liberalism in its classical sense. They envy Putin's power. There's a sense in which they admire the Islamists because they take their religion seriously. They disagree with them about their religion, but at least they take religion seriously. It's better than those secular bastards in Israel who don't. Plus, there's a tinge of anti-Semitism. But what they hate about Ukraine is Ukraine was tilting to Europe. And there's no place they hate more than Europe, because Europe is, for them, emblematic of the corruption of the liberal West. The corruption of the liberal West. The decadence and corruption of the liberal West. And Ukraine was turning to Europe, and therefore was turning towards that. And that versus kind of the religiosity, the anti-gay, the cleanliness of a Putin appeared, versus the decadence of the West. They go for Putin. What would Kasian Andor do if ICE came after him? Coincidentally, he is played by an Hispanic actor, Diego Luna. Well, I don't know. I mean, initially, in Andor 1, he was pretty what do you call it? Passive. I think he'd hide. But by the time we get to Andor 2, he'd probably really rebel against them. I mean, they would have to be careful. I mean, but yeah, that's a scary thing. I mean, these ICE are starting to look like the Imperial Guard, the Imperial Army in Star Wars, rounding people up and asking for their papers. Michael, I hope your family will be safe with no harm, and life in Israel can start to focus on life and the future. I hope so too. Thank you. I appreciate the thoughts. Supikask it says, I went to No Kings protest today. Lots of American flags and references to 1776. I bought my own U.S. flag. Good. I mean, I'm glad that was the theme, that there was a lot of U.S. flags. I think the challenge with these is that they get capped. I mean, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a fan of protests generally. I don't like protests, as you know. But the real danger here is that they get captured by the pro-Hamas, anti-American, anarchists who wear kafirs and fly Mexican flags and stuff like that. The best outcome is a group that carries around the Constitution, waves an American flags, signs of 1776 and things like that. That is definitely going to be best. No question about that. All right, numbers are starting to come out. It looks like at least one is being killed. Dozens injured in the latest ballistic missile barrage against central Israel. That is against Tel Aviv. All right. Well, I mean, now Iran is asking for it, and I really do think they have just given the green light, or will be giving the green light, to go after Iranian oil facilities or Iranian anything. Right? They're not going to hold back to the extent that they held back. I think that's over now. I think Israel's going to go all out. Yeah, more fake videos. It's amazing, all these fake videos. Yeah. All right. Oh, here it is. Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera says, tonight's Israeli operation was a complete failure, and Iran repelled all Israeli attacks. It's pretty funny, the propaganda. You've got to admit that it takes something for people to actually have that. Yep. It looks like very few people went to the parade. Parade looks pretty empty. Not a lot of people there. All right, let's see. Not your average algorithm. Is Iran preparing to launch a 1,500 ballistic missile barrage, or do they not have any inventory left for a major attack? They don't have the launches. They don't have the launches, and they don't have the missiles. And if they bring the missiles out and they start preparing the launches, then Israel identifies them and sends the planes in, and they knock them out before they ever leave. So it's difficult for Iran. They were planning a 1,500 thing, but not happening. Not happening. All right, let's see. Huh. All right, Dave. I went to No King's protest today as well. I didn't feel comfortable marching in a group that contained the Free Palestine crowd, but opposition to Trump in physical space has to be shown. I guess I don't see it. If there's a Free Palestine group, I'm not anywhere in that vicinity. I'm blocks away. I'm not in the same protest. And this is the problem. And this is the problem with protests. I get it. I get wanting to do something. I get wanting to get out there and speak up and do stuff against Trump. I get that. I just don't think protests are the right thing to do. All right, let's see. All right, so far all I see is fake videos. Okay. Let's go back to reliable source. Let's see what they're saying. Yeah, nothing new. All right. Dave, if Trump wanted a big parade with millions of people cheering and celebrating, all he has to do is resign. True. Then I'd go and parade. That's worthy of a parade. That would be amazing. Although then we'd get J.D. Vance. So maybe I wouldn't parade. Maybe then I'd get really worried. Wes, thank you for the $50. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Not your average algorithm. How does the Iranian regime collapse without a ground invasion? Germany and Japan could never have reformed without decades of occupation and re-education. I don't think Iran needs decades of occupation and re-education. I think as we talked about when the Girls' Revolution was going on a couple of years ago, and when they were out in the streets almost daily demonstrating against the regime, there is a significant portion of the Iranian population that hates these mullahs, that wants them gone, that wants to be liberated from a theocracy, that wants to live in a Western-like country, and I think that so I don't think they need that re-education. There's a certain portion of the population that will stay religious, is religious, will stay religious, but there is a vast number of Iranians who've just had it with these people, and because of the internet, are exposed to Western ideas. This is, by the way, one of the things that happened, I forgot to mention it, is Elon Musk turned on Starlink over Iran. So if you have a receiver in Iran, you can get internet service because the Iranian government blocked all internet service when this war started. But the fact is, Iranians have internet, and they know what the West is like. They travel, they see the West. They do not want to be there. They don't not want to be under theocracy, and I think they're ready to replace it. You didn't need occupation of the Soviet Union when the Soviet Union collapsed. Now, we still got Russia, but we also got Poland and the Czech Republic and places that have, the Baltics, that shrugged off their communism and became pretty cool places. So I think we're in a world today where we're in Iran today. All you need to do is give enough of them the confidence that this regime is finished. They will go out in the streets and they will overturn them, I think. And you'll get a better regime. You might not get Western democracy immediately, but you'll get a better regime. Maybe the son of the Shah of Iran will come back. I don't think he wants to be Shah, but maybe he could become a symbolic monarchy, just as a stabilizing element, and establish a temporary government until there's elections or something like that. So no, you don't need to be in the ground. This is not Germany or Japan. This is, if it collapses, it'll be much more like Eastern Europe, like Poland, rejecting communism. Let me just check online to see what's going on. That was a while ago. I think there's a bunch here. Let me see. All right, it looks like Israel has made a formal request of the United States to enter the war, and there is an urgent meeting at the Pentagon to make a decision about that. I have no idea how they'll decide. All right. I don't see there are over 20 casualties in Tel Aviv, different places, many, some of them children. We'll see. We'll probably have to wait half an hour to an hour to figure this out. What the consequences were. Subkasky says the No Kings label was brilliant, a callback to revolution, an easy reference most Americans understand, and one everybody can support. Yes. A while ago, this is free and focused. A while ago, everyone was agreeing with Ayn Rand Q&A videos saying there's no right to mass protest. Now everyone in the chat just got back from a mass protest. Is it okay because it's outside? No, as I said, protests are happening. I mean, you're participating or not participating is not going to change the fact that they're happening. I don't believe in mass protests. I don't think they're right. I think that they violate the rights of people, and they violate the rights of people trying to use the roads, trying to get to work, trying to do whatever they want. You can't just block roads, block neighborhoods, and that is what protests do. So I'm not, as I said, I'm not a fan of protests. I'm against protesting, but I understand that people want to express themselves, and the protests are going to happen anyway. I would never go to a protest. I mean, again, unless it was in a place that was not disruptive. Enric, I'm surprised. I get it shouldn't be. There's no good analysis in the media on the significant change developing in the Middle East happening with the Islamic Republic being crucially countered. Yeah, I mean, there's very little analysis out there. There's some good stuff, but there's very little analysis. A lot of news, little analysis. Because people don't understand. I don't think people have an appreciation, understanding of the actual dynamics of the Middle East and the crucial importance Iran has played. And this is true for 40 years now. We haven't had a proper analysis of the crucial role Iran has played for the Islamist movement since 1979, since the Islamic Revolution. And whether there would be an Islamist jihadist movement if not for Iran. And taking out Iran, what does that mean for the world? For the world. Because the world is threatened by Islamism. And if you take out the linchpin, the key to Islamism, what then happens? All right. That actually looks real. All right. Let's see. I'm not surprised. People don't think in principles and don't think big picture. Gail says, hi, Yaron. Thanks a million for sharing your unmatched integrity in this fight. I'm with you all the way. Thank you, Gail. Very, very much appreciate that and appreciate the support. Let's see. James says, for his next birthday, he'll want to tear down the Statue of Liberty and replace it with the statue of himself. Yes. Decked out in ice gear. In ice gear. Let's see. Liam, if New York City elects a Muslim socialist mayor, is it to destroy their own city just to spite Trump? No, I mean, it's complicated, right? I mean, part of it is that New York City's pretty progressive. They elected de Blasio. And part of it is that he's running against Cuomo, and Cuomo is a corrupt governor, a former governor, right? And is corrupt, and everybody knows he's corrupt. And nobody likes him. Even the people voting for him don't like him. And if you put up somebody who seems to really believe in what he says and is a real fighter for his cause, and then against a corrupt former governor who left in embarrassment the governor's mansion because of corruption, what was it, sexual abuse or whatever, there's a good chance that the principled guy will win, even if these principles are unbelievably destructive in the world in which we live. So how the Democrats allowed this to happen and couldn't think of a better candidate to put up other than Cuomo against this guy, I have no idea. I have no idea. All right, Ben Jackson is listening to the show in France and is about to fall asleep. It's 3 a.m. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. You can always listen to the show when you wake up, right? It's all recorded. It'll all be there. And tomorrow's Sunday. Sleep in. Soupy-Cask, a Minnesota Democratic legislator was assassinated this morning. Assassin planned attacks on other legislators, abortion providers, and No Kings protesters. Yes, a right-wing nut. A right-wing nut. And, political violence, it's not good. It's not, we live in dangerous times. We live in dangerous times. Michael asks, would you debate Ann Coulter? Yeah, absolutely. I'd debate Ann Coulter. Neo, she won't debate me, but I'll debate Ann Coulter. How many ammunition does Israel have? Are they not scared of running out? I think the United States is providing with a lot of ammunition. They piled the ammunition up before this, so they got plenty of bombs. Remember, the other thing about Israel is almost all the munitions are precision munitions. So when they shoot 300 bombs, the 300 bombs actually reach their target and blow it up. Almost none of them are destroyed on the way. So they have a very, 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 as compared to the Iranians, a very, very high rate of efficiency with those bombs. How many do they have? I don't know. But it doesn't take a lot of bombs to cause a lot of damage. A lot of damage. Let's see. All right. Supposedly there's some airplane coming from China to Luxembourg to Iran. Anyway, that is something like that. Hard to tell exactly what's going on here. Too much info. Unreliable. All right. Israel has plenty of ammunition, and the United States will provide more if it needs it. And it'll buy the ammunition from the United States, if that's the issue. Daniel says, I was reading Stefan Zweig. He writes on how Jewish culture elevates the intellectual more than almost anything. I have to imagine that's played a role in Israel making short work of its enemies. Yes, and it's played a role in Jews having so many Nobel Prizes and so many great engineers and so many, academics and so many successful everything. I think the fact that the Jews elevate the intellect in their culture above almost all else. So yes, there's no question. And there's an independence and entrepreneurial spirit in Israel. I mean, we can talk sometime about Israeli culture and what makes it special. And there's certainly an independent streak and a willingness to disagree and willingness to hear disagreement and to debate and to discuss and to voice your opinion and a respect for that you don't find in other cultures. All right, let's run through these. I am getting tired, I must admit. Will Iran and Israel go back and forth like this for weeks? How does this end? Well, I don't think Iran will last weeks if Israel goes after, their key resources. And I think every day Israel destroys more of their missiles. Their missile and their launcher inventory will be depleted here. This will only end, I think, at the pace we're going, is some kind of surrender of Iran, where they basically said, okay, what do you want to stop this? Or a collapse of the regime. I think those are the two things that'll make it stop. Yeah, Iran has said they'd keep fighting for decades. I don't think they can. They don't have the money. The population would start starving soon if Israel took out their refining and oil export capacity. Michael, was Israel expecting Iran counterattack to be this effective? It's not effective. Yes, and yes, they were expecting it to be. They were expecting a lot worse. Israel was expecting a lot worse. They were worried about, the first night, they were worried about 1,000 missiles coming in. And 1,000 missiles, if your knockout rate is 90%, then 100 hit. They were expecting a lot of casualties. They were preparing the Israeli population for a lot of death and destruction. And I don't think the Iranians have been effective at all. I think this is a pathetic rate. And if you lob stuff into residential areas, yeah, you're going to cause damage. But this is not strategic damage. It's not damaging anything of significance or importance. The number of people hurt or dying is relatively small in the big picture of things, of a war. And Israel has succeeded so much. There's no way I would call this effective, and Israel's knocking down 90% of the projectiles being sent at them, and that's an amazing track record. Listen to calling with my girlfriend right now, so we can't listen live. But everyone, send stickers and remember to reach the Super Chat goal. Thank you, Lucinda. Really appreciate it. James, your news shows produce most listeners. I recommend you cover more breaking news. Thank you. I know the breaking news covers a lot. There's just not a lot of things to do breaking news on when they all have done them. I've done the war in Ukraine. I've done the war here. But I'll take that in mind and see if there's more things I could do. The problem is, not every topic can I do breaking news because I don't know enough about it. Here I know a lot. Hey, by the way, like the show before you leave. Please like it. It helps the algorithm. We got a lot of people watching right now. All you have to do is click that like button. It doesn't do anything. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you don't support the show, please consider going on Patreon, patreon.com, and putting Yaron Brook Show and subscribing and becoming a supporter of the show. I'd really appreciate that. $10 gets you the podcast free of commercials. But you can do anywhere from $2 to $1,000 on a monthly basis. But yeah, we're a listener-supported show. Without you supporting the show, the people who watch it, the people who listen to it, can't do this, would not do this. So please consider that. Subscribe, like, share, and support the show. All right, James, how likely is Canada, other Canadian provinces or countries to join the USA when we do not protect Israel, Ukraine, Taiwan, or other allies? Less likely. So the more the United States is not willing to protect its allies, the less those allies would rally towards the U.S. when it requires help or asks for help. There's video of an Apache helicopter taking out a what is it? A drone, an Iranian drone. I just saw video of that. All right. Tessa, thank you for the support. Really appreciate it. Michael, was October 7th the beginning of the end of Iran and radical Islam? Very much the beginning of the end, I think, of Iran and its satellites, and potentially, I'm not quite ready to call it the end of radical Islam, of Islamism, but could be the beginning. If Iran falls, that could very much be the beginning of something much bigger happening. I definitely think it's a dramatic, historic, dramatic weakening of radical Islam. And in that sense, October 7th could have started it all, as tragic as that was. Do you think we offer anything to Alberta or Saskatchewan? Do they have anything to truly gain by joining America besides lower taxes in Canada? Well, more free speech. I mean, generally, there are a better healthcare system, a freer healthcare system. So yeah, I do think free speech is a biggie. Healthcare is a big one. Lower taxes. In some ways, less regulations. Right now, with Trump at least, easier ability to drill and to extract all the oil that is in Alberta. So, yeah, there were a few. Can you elaborate, Rational IP, can you elaborate why you don't favor protests? Basically because they are a means by which they are obstructing the lives of people. That is, if I'm driving to work and I'm stuck in a traffic jam because you've decided to protest, by what right are you doing that to me? You're stealing time. You're taking time away from me. Imagine if the roads were private. This is the way to do it. Imagine if the roads were private. I mean, would private owners of roads allow protests? No. And would you have a right to protest on private roads? No. You could rent a road. You could pay a road owner to protest. You could rent a field. You can rent a stadium. You can rent a football field. You can rent a space and protest there. But you can't just go on, what do we call it? Public roads and obstruct traffic and obstruct businesses that are trying to make a living that are on the side of it. And it's not surprising that often these protests lead to riots, And I get the good cause. That many protests are involved in. What was I looking for? Noel, thank you for the 50 Canadian dollars. Really appreciate it. Eyal, thank you for the sticker. Tessa, thank you. Who else have I not thanked today? I'd like to thank everybody if I can. Lucinda, I think I thanked Lucinda. Maybe I've thanked everybody. All right, great. Thank you, guys. Yeah. All right, Neo says, follow Israel Radar. I'll take a look. Thank you for the tip. Let's see. James G. Article, How Canada Launders the Iranian Regime's Elites. Canada hosts the second largest Iranian diaspora. As of 2021, the community numbered approximately 200,000, if not more. Thoughts on this? Yeah, I mean, I've said it earlier. The Canadian elites, the Canadian, I mean, there's a huge Iranian diaspora in LA, but it's mostly anti-regime Iranians. The Iranians in Canada are pro-regime. And a lot of the regime leaders, the mullahs, have property in Toronto, in Canada. And, I think it's horrible, but Canada can't do anything about it unless it declares Iran an enemy, which it won't and it doesn't. But it really is horrible. And imagine if a lot of these ayatollahs will end up in Canada. I don't think they will because they'll be afraid of being tried, but some of them will. And I mean, it's horrific that a country like Canada serves that purpose and can't do anything about it. Let's see. It looks like 1 dead and 53 wounded in tonight's missile attacks on central Israel. See, that can be a success for them. 5 seriously hurt, so the number of dead might increase. The Israeli Air Force is carrying out the largest attack in Tehran so far, bombing dozens of sites in less than an hour. Targets include arms depots, sites linked to nuclear project, pinpoint strikes targeted unspecific Iranian figures. So, that's just, over the last few hours, Israel's taking out, dozens and dozens of sites. The Iranians are shooting blind into Israel, and a few missiles actually drop. 2 major impact sites in central Israel, 24 wounded, South Tel Aviv. This is in South Tel Aviv, that building, the high-rise building. About 20 wounded in another strike, I guess. But they're still searching, so the numbers could go up quite a bit. Here's the thing. Israeli ministers were presented with worst-case scenario of over 600 Iranian missiles fired the first night of war. 800 to 4,000 dead in the conflict with Iran. Looks like actual numbers will be far lower than these casualty figures. So what Israel was prepared for was 800 to 4,000 dead. And to date, we have, I think, less than 10. So I'd say this is a huge success of Israel and a huge, massive failure for Iran. All right, guys, I am going to try to get some sleep. I will see you tomorrow. Probably do another show like this in the evening tomorrow. After we get the first kind of round of attacks, I assume, by Iran on Israel, we'll also be able to summarize the day and what we saw during the day. Then Monday, we'll start returning to a semi-regular schedule, a more regular schedule. Monday, to remind you, I am interviewing Scott Lincecum, so we will return to tariffs and trade. So that'll be with Scott Lincecum on Monday at 8 p.m. Monday during the day, we'll do, I'm hoping we'll do a news show. And then we'll have shows on Tuesday, and then I'm off to Arizona to film my course for the Peterson Academy, so I'm just not sure what my schedule will be like and how many shows I'll be able to do. I'll still try to do, particularly update you if there are major events. James says, how does the war in Israel impact the religious versus secular? Imagine there is a difference. How does war unite people in a country versus break up a country? Well, war generally unites, but I think, look, the more Israel engages in war, the more the secular public resents the religious. The religious, particularly the ultra-Orthodox in Israel, don't serve in the military. They live off the state through a variety of welfare-like programs. They don't work. They're not extraordinarily productive. They're not particularly productive. So, the secular part of the country, it's their kids that are fighting the actual war, and it's their tax money funding the whole thing. And I think what this does, what October 7th did with the war in Gaza and with Hezbollah, and now this does more and more, is the secular part of Israel starts resenting the religious part more and more, as they should. And where that leads ultimately, in terms of internal Israeli politics, is hard for me to say. I mean, it would be great if Israel could unite around a center-right secular coalition that kept the religionists out, revamped the welfare state so that they didn't get it. I mean, eliminate the welfare state would be my ideal, but I'm saying a center-right, not a objectivist government. And you know, cut all the funding for all the programs that affect the religious right. But I don't expect that to happen. The religionist, right, left, doesn't matter. The far right, the far religion, not far right. Thank you guys. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.